Alrighty then. Alrighty.
And
Oh boy. Let's see. Where are we? There we are. Okay, let's see. Anybody
there's
coming?
Rama.
Rama's
Rama.
here.
He's right here.
Hello, boys and girls. It's your Uncle Rama.
He likes that. Rama likes that voice. You know, Rama is part of the security team.
Robbie Berry in the
house.
house.
Robbie made it first. Yay, Robbie.
Wow.
Hooray.
That's awesome.
Awesome. Yes. So, back to Rama being part of the security team. He is right here, making himself known, wiggling his little tail, and he has the most beautifulest white teeth. He's smiling so big.
He likes to smile.
He does. He loves to smile. Oh,
Crypto Schizo.
whoa.
Good to see you. The crypto market can make you schizo. Anything really could on planet Earth. Carolina Dream, Paulo, Vicodin, 20 Prosperity, 12, K-Heads, Dawn, Jenny Pace, Tom, Tracy.
I'm missing everybody.
Special K in the house.
K in the house. Oh, here we are.
Dear brother Peter, hope you're doing well over there. 20 Prosperity, 12. Abdurrahim, good to see you. And the Hidden Church of the Holy Grail. Sin Havoc sighting. Awesome.
Whoa.
Awesome, guys. I hope everybody is doing well. It's so weird. It's like we can't. Okay, you got it back up there, sweetie?
Yeah, I got it. I figured it out.
All right, so we got it on the backup computer just in case.
Which we've had plenty of those cases.
We sure have.
Yep.
So, more earthquakes, more floods, all sorts of chaos. Back into the flood again. Same old trip it was back when.
Back when?
How long ago was that?
When was that?
I don't know. I don't really know. This is Heart's Ohm. This is our newest channel, and I'd love to see it go over 3,000 subscribers. It's probably about a year and a half old, 2 years old,
Yep.
a year and a half, something like that. That over there is completely the spiritual side of things. And we just put a video up over there a couple hours ago. Urgent message from the spirit realms. So please do make sure you're subscribed over there, as it does have unique playlists. And then this was a Patreon and subscriber on YT exclusive, which, man, it's just been crazy, guys. It's been crazy out there, has it not? I mean, the buzz going on everywhere. This, by the way, that is Seattle, Washington, 1906. Looks like they had some mud flood problems back then. Digging out from the mud flood, they call it the regrade. Ah, yes, regrading. Yeah, well, they did that same thing in Chattanooga, Tennessee in the 1850s. I want to say, well, actually, they regraded it later. But, you find the same thing over and over again. 33-year project. 33 years.
Wow, look at there.
Wow. I mean, again, the truth is always encoded. And Renee, good to see you. Inspire Me 72.
Great
to see you guys.
This is wonderful.
I really have over time found myself so drawn in more every week that goes by with the mud flood thing. Because it's
Well, it
it's
feels like
big.
it's happening.
Yeah, because we're seeing it, we're
Right.
watching it.
Right.
We're going to be talking about that six strings too. It's just crazy, but you got to realize there's an objective here, and one of the objectives is to herd us all into those very, very smart quote unquote cities. Bob Walters, good to see you, Bob. CR user, good afternoon. We did do 2 videos today, but we felt like we had to get online, and then when I saw the quake, we got to go on, because it's like everybody and their aunt grandmother. We all have this feeling that there's really big things brewing. We could all feel it. You could sense it. As Renee says, so much going on all at once. Yes, Robbie, please do hit the like button. Leave comments, and bless you guys. May you all stay safe and secure in the craziness that is ongoing. Wow. This 2009, the History Channel aired Weather Warfare, which discussed weather manipulation and HARP. Literally, again, this little headline in here, I think it was in the 50s, it might have even been in the late 40s. Weather warfare explored by the U.S. Don't forget, China and the U.S. both said that they are going to control the weather in 2025. And what do we got going? It's not perfect weather, guys. If you're controlling it, you would think you would have nicer weather, more consistent weather without so many floods, fires, and earthquakes. Not that you could control the earthquake, unless, you're looking into Tesla's technology. And then also, again, we have the help that the U.S. government, not just the U.S. government, all governments of the world have from, let's say, the ultra-terrestrial side of things.
Indeed. We have all that going on. And what I'm grateful for is more and more people are waking up, despite, even if they don't want to. And these things that we have going on right now, especially with the Ring of Fire, especially with all of the earth changes and things moving and shaking and people going through some pretty big awakenings these days.
Yes, Operation Popeye, Operation Sea Spray. Oh man, there's been so many of them. If only we could get more people to understand that it's all been declassified. I mean, you got patents for everything that we've run into. They've been put in place. Lily Critters, awesome to see you. I'm glad that you made the live. Yeah, absolutely. Operation Popeye in the Vietnam War, back in the 60s and 70s, they flooded villages away. Why would anybody think that it's impossible? Now, if you want to take it from the standpoint that China and the BRICS nations are kind of engaged in a war right now with NATO, an undeclared war officially, it would seem so obvious that you think that, let's say China is targeting the U.S. targeting China. How about, again, that big earthquake in Kamchatka, that 8.8, tied for the 6th largest of all time, happened to hit right next to Russia's Pacific nuclear submarine fleet base, and by the way, was hit hard. That's just a coincidence, right?
Just a coincidence, all of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Elena's in the house, our dear Elena from Waynesville.
Awesome.
Elizabeth, look at this. So, showing how in miniature you can create plasma and energy waves to manipulate the weather. And then, of course, we have HARP. Even public officials have mentioned the fact that, HARP can screw with the weather. It's just kind of hilarious to think that we're not supposed to believe it could screw with the weather. Also, there's Puerto Rico. That's Arecibo. I was over there. I went by this, gosh, so many years ago. That's like the largest, what do you call it? What's that term for? It's not radar. It's it looks like a big ass satellite dish.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like, it might still be the largest one of its kind in the world. And, again, when you look at the technology that's out there that we know of, there's way more technology than what they tell us. So, yeah, I mean, here you go. This is like 16 years ago. This is the History Channel. Hurricane steering is a fact. Yeah, absolutely. It is a fact. And by the way, guys, it looks like we're going to have a record-setting year with hurricanes, too. Of course.
Imagine that. Wow, what a shocker. What a shocker.
Yeah, Renee, they do have to show us in plain sight. Somehow it seems to get them off of the karmic side of things. Please do send your prayers, guys. Send your prayers to the people in Turkey. This is either a 6.1, 6.2. Obviously, buildings down. The way that Turkey is, both with the buildings and also geologically, this could be the equivalent to like a 7 in certain parts of the world. You know, like California, for instance, a 7.0 in California wouldn't do typically the type of damage that a 7.0 would do in New York City. We'd be talking two totally different worlds there. The older, harder surface, like if you're on the Craton, you know, that's going to shake it a lot more. That's what we have with the New Madrid too. So Cascadia, San Andreas, if they go, and when we have the New Madrid at a similar magnitude, you're going to get much farther and wider shaking from the New Madrid. And then we got that whole blob situation in New York. You know, again, they've told us that there's this molten blob of, you know, magma that's making its way, and under New England, by the way, heading to New York City. Just saying, everything has to be put out there.
Well, you know, just now I just got a message from a friend who's in Michigan, and she says that everyone is saying there's never been rain like that there before. So let's send prayers out to her that she gets home safely. It's pretty wild. So.
Oh, okay. She's actually she's in Wisconsin, right?
Oh yeah.
She's in Wisconsin. She was visiting family in North Carolina. This is our beloved Mary D. Yeah, she's like a sister to us, as are really all you guys, either sisters or brothers, or, well, we're just gonna leave it at that. Yeah, absolutely. You know, just absolutely crazy weather. So this was a lot of shaking. Let's see if we can. Wow, you know, it's just one after another. It's one after another after another. And then we look at all the mud flood issues, and by the way, I got to look up the lady. There was a geologist, John Levy, in his video today recommended a geologist's channel. I'll go and look it up, and definitely will share information from her channel too, because here you have another scientist that's chiming in with that it looks like entire cities were melted. You know, meltology is a thing. It really is true. And Cindy and I, we saw it. We were all over Nevada, Arizona, and New Mexico. You could see it. You could feel it. And this is also part of these times, is that, you know, everybody is, if you're working on yourself spiritually, you are getting more intuitive, and you're going to be able to see things. Yeah, Tiamat, you know, and the dragon energy is awakening. Again, you know, another, let's just say, Lightworker Starseed was talking all about an awakening dragon in the Ring of Fire. You know, we're all getting like the same messages, it seems, at the same time when you look at it, and you could read the writing on the wall. It's gonna be hang on tight. Yeah, then we have the volcanoes, and that's all ramping up too. What do you guys think the chances are of a volcano going off in either Washington, Oregon, or California even by the end of the year? I think it's a good chance. I think it's a good chance.
Oh, I think so too. And yeah, we have planetary changes going on. We also have technology going on. That 8.8 was just not normal. That was not easy on anybody's energy field. I think that really knocked a lot of our energy bodies for a loop. The more sensitive you are, the more you felt it. And that was very, very, very difficult. So I wouldn't be surprised if we don't have more of that coming, just as a disruption, if nothing else.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, I was just thinking about that. Like, what you could see what this 6.2 did. Can you imagine something like an 8.8 happening in this area, even something in the mid sevens? It does happen in Turkey. Turkey is amazing. Honestly, I would love to go and see Daring Kuyu before, you know, a bucket list type thing. Again, Turkey is one of those places where there was enough housing in the underground to house tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people. What were they going into the earth to avoid? You know, if I go into my intuition, they were really worried about ships in the air, for one, and also energy beams coming from the sky down. That's what I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there was so much of that back not too long ago where people knew about other types of beings on the planet. I don't think it was a horribly long time ago, and I don't think we have much longer to wait before we recognize that again. I mean, this energy is definitely ramping up, and at some point, I do believe with the treaty that we have in place that certain beings are going to show themselves soon.
So this is the location that we're looking at. It was felt in Istanbul, which is the capital. At one time was known as Constantinople. At one time it was the capital of at least a part of the Holy Roman Empire. And you can see its proximity to Greece there. Absolutely, gosh, the Aegean would be a wonderful place to go and see. It's so beautiful. This is the only entrance over here through the straits by Istanbul to get into and out of the Black Sea. So it's very important. This strategically is an extremely important area. And again, I do hope that we will not see an escalation of, you know, the ongoing battles, wars, and, you know, let's again put out the intention that WW3 doesn't truly manifest. But at the same time, it's been in the playbook for a long time. Macedonia, oh, the path to Persia, man, yeah, absolutely. So much history. And a beautiful area. And then again, the Black Sea is just fascinating too, because those elongated heads that they found in Peru, all the way on the other side of the earth, same genetic linkage from the Black Sea area here to Peru. So again, how are they doing this if history is as they said? They hitched a ride with ETs or ultra-terrestrials, you know, and yeah, our history is so much not what they say it is. Thank you, Miss Lady. Blessings and namaste to you guys as well.
Thanks, you guys. You know, I think it's really interesting when we're looking at the Earth. Okay, when we're looking at Earth changes, and especially what's going on here, is like, I always look at the Earth and I look at our bodies, and I know that we're going through similar things. And in this case, I really believe that the chakras that are in this area are starting to have their blocks removed. And when the blocks are ready to be removed, that can really create some other secondary situations, like what we're seeing with the volcanoes, with the interruption, with the earthquakes. It can do a lot of different things. And you know, just like our bodies, you know, a lot of times I'm able to look at blocks and I talk with them, you know, if they want to be removed. And if they do, people go through changes. You know, they might feel a lot of heat, a lot of stirring, a lot of energy around in that area, reorganizing itself. And I think that's what we have going on here in this Ring of Fire. To me, it's very much part of the Earth's energetic source. One of them.
Yes, absolutely. This is not the Ring of Fire, but all eyes have been on the Ring of Fire, and yet here you go. This is not the only one too. We've had some pretty good sized ones. Yesterday, yesterday we had this 5.9. So I mean that's basically a 6.0 because they never seem to give you an exact number to what it really is. And this is off the coast of Guatemala. And you could see there's several other aftershocks there.
When we do have shifting, we have a lot of movement in this ring of fire. That's what I'm thinking is going to happen is these other earthquakes in different areas because the energy is now shifting and moving. And when you understand energy and how it's mapped, you can see how now it is able to get to certain areas when it's moving into alignment that it could not before.
And here we have a 5.9. This is over in the area of Guam. And, there are very important U.S. naval bases over there. So, that's another thing gets you really wondering, like the likelihood that Kamchatka, which we see, there's still a whole bunch of aftershocks going on. Largest was a 5.3. There's 18 today. Again, that the Russian naval base right there, right there. So you really got to wonder: are some of these earthquakes military operations? Just to put it straight out there. And if we look, let's just look at what we got there for the month. You can see you got almost 1,000 quakes here. In this area, so still a whole lot of shaking going on there.
I look at this, and again, I just keep drawing back to our bodies and thinking about the ascension of Earth and knowing on our bodies when our energy is moving and we have certain things going on, knowing that outside forces can definitely affect that, especially if they know what's going on and you do not. I think that's going on here. I think there's definitely an ascension process in the works. It's like happening now, and other entities could take advantage of a certain movement.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we look at what they are calling the significant quakes for the month, you can see that obviously that 6.2 today, that does count. 6.5 Indonesia, 6.3 Indonesia, 6.7, and this is not including the 8.8 and then several other sixes over there. Then don't forget the Alaska one, the 7.3. So yeah, I mean when you look at what we've had, 8.8, 7.4, 7.3, and then a lot. And then you got the oddities too, because you have this 3.0 here in New Jersey. Now that's significant because it's unusual. And then you have the 2.7 that was right above it. So if we look for 30 days in the Northeast, we do see some. You do see some here, and several up in Massachusetts, and then there's the one in Maine. Yeah, and everybody is feeling it. That's the other thing. Everybody is sensing and feeling how big this is. Now you had you had just some horrible storms going on throughout the northern middle part of the U.S. This is showing this from the watchers. 1 dead, 1 critically injured after a large tree falls on vehicle during severe storm. Just the weather this was in Nebraska. It's just been insane. This is some of the flooding that we're talking about in Wisconsin. Wauwatosa, and this is in the Milwaukee County. Wow, it's just we've seen this kind of everywhere. We saw this type of flooding in Ruidoso. Over in New Mexico, we certainly saw even worse up in North Carolina, in the greater Asheville area. I mean, we've seen this just everywhere. The massive flooding. And, people that don't pay attention to things like this are being forced to pay attention. And, I think it's a good thing that we get more people looking into this and waking up to the weather warfare that does exist. Technologies are out there.
It does, and it's not nice. And here we're looking at a lot of water. We're looking at a lot of flooding, and I can equate this to human emotions and what people are going through now, just like the emotions are coming up. And in some cases, they're definitely not under control, and they're going wherever they can. Water is such a powerful force. Water will find a way. To me, it's the most powerful force.
Yeah, so Jen says Dutch Sense thinks that it wasn't 8.8, he thinks it was about an 8.0. Well, it was weird the way they were changing the numbers, and then they come into 8.8, and, symbology. It's all about symbology, so.
Yeah, bring up the numbers. You bring up the numbers. So.
And there you go, Sin Havoc saying, the water's coming from under.
Yeah.
Yeah, and yes, we know, they've told us that there's, twice as much? No, or three.
There is a lot.
3 times as much water locked up in the crust than's in the oceans. But the other part too, where the water comes from, is literally from space. And I know that they're not going to say that, but there are those people that do believe that. And we have gotten that information too. That again, space is not a vacuum. It's actually like a less dense ocean of sorts. So,
it's the creative energy that we use to create with.
Wisconsin State Fair was forced to close early. More than 13 inches of rain. You got to wonder, what's the winter going to look like? I really do feel this winter is going to be colder than normal. For most of us, I think, here in the U.S. Again, it just has this weird feel to it. So, no, you're not imagining it. There are floods and fires happening all over the world right now. And, of course, they want to blame climate change. And, you look at some of these locations, Taiwan, Pakistan, UK, Mexico, Turkey, India, Yemen. Yeah, India, horrible situation over there. China, Afghanistan, Poland. It's just all over the place. France, Algeria, Japan, Spain, Venezuela, Indonesia, Nepal, Saudi Arabia, Iran. It's just everywhere you look.
Everywhere we look. What do we do with it all? I think the best thing to do with our energy is to send some type of blessings and relief to those who need it right now.
Yeah, as Ruben says, that it's on such a big scale that no weather is entirely natural. And they're totally unable to give us the weather forecast when you get down to it now.
Well, I know, because they might say, oh, it's a clear day, and then all of a sudden there's tornadoes show up.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, I can agree with that, Ruben. And the weather is, it's really strange. We have strangeness going on, and there's manipulation going on, and I think it does seem like, the channels that push that, oh, this is all a natural occurrence, they tend to do a lot better. They really do a lot better, not saying any names, but, we see what we see, and we already know, and we've done so many videos on weather manipulation, and to me, with the technology that's out there, I really believe, yes, they could do things to manipulate certain weather phenomena.
Absolutely. This is Manchester. There was an explosion, as you can see, underground explosion, and they're investigating it. People heard it, 2 loud explosions. Before the grid in the road blew off, some houses in the area had no power. This is again the UK, Manchester, in the UK. immediately what Cindy got was this was people intentionally doing that. So, again, if you're joining us for the first time, Cindy is very, very intuitive. Remote viewing is part of what we do, and she has gifts where she can often look into the Akashic record and find the truth that won't always be out there in the open.
No, it's a very uncomfortable thing to be able to do.
Yeah, but I'm grateful that a lot of people are waking up to it. Again, we have so many declassified documents from not just the U.S. government, but other governments too, taking it very seriously and investing a lot of money and training into people to develop them.
It's just so many. We all have access to it, and that's what I love, and that's kind of what the video was about on Heart's Home today, is that we all have access to this, but it's just so very few reach out and touch it because of the shame that can be involved, because of family being disappointed, or doctors being concerned. So many people do not reach out and speak to this energy like they could or like they should, all because of shame to me.
Yeah, absolutely. So this feels like it was intentional and something set off, and also that it could be related to people that are not from the local area. Just that was the impressions given. New hybrid plasma wave mode observed over Jupiter's North Pole. So, again, never a straight answer. We got to always take it with a grain of salt. I always take it like, what are they trying to tell us? And I think what they're trying to tell us is to seed the idea that there's natural occurrences going on with energy that would give you the results that you would see with plasma, which plasma obviously can be very, very explosive, so to speak. And so what you got going on here, you have NASA's Juno spacecraft detected a new plasma wave mode in Jupiter's auroral magnetosphere, where electron plasma frequency is lower than the ion gyro frequency, an unprecedented condition in space plasma physics. Discovery was made during recent polar passes by Juno, as described in a study published last month. Researchers proposed this wave type, now called, and so, again, this is where I'll see people say things like, oh, those are just red sprites, and again, red sprites are kind of like these light particle, they look like jellyfish. They feel like beings because they actually are, but science will, the scientists will just name something and then act like they always had that name in place. But you'll find often that right before we start seeing these things, they come up with the name for it, because, again, they got to give us a logical explanation that leads us perhaps away from the actual reality. So, this is something that they're just giving a new term to explain this plasma physics, which they had never seen before. So again, they'll let us know that there's changes going on, not just in our particular planet, but also changes in the whole solar system, perhaps even the whole galaxy. And yes, we do understand that because, again, we've left the Kali Yuga and we're into the beginning stages of a Bronze Age. So there are natural changes, and at the same time, it makes a good catch-all explanation for things that also could be done by technology.
Right. To me, one of my more favorite things that came out by scientists is called ball lightning. It's like, oh no, that's not a big orb and an entity inside of that light. That's just ball lightning. Don't look any further, kids. Go back to your science books. We got it covered.
So yeah, again, when we look to things like, the Grand Canyon and the fact that on Mars there is a very similar, even larger canyon like our Grand Canyon, which they'll tell us that was caused just by water erosion, which, there's so many people that have debunked that. And, you'll have the Thunderbolts Project talking about it being plasma. Yeah, again, the sun is changing. We all, well, maybe not everybody, but, the sun used to be yellowish orange. Now it's much more towards the white. Of course, you see that whitish silver sky from those strange clouds that are always going up too, which they're doing a lot more of those in the last 10 years than they did back in the 70s when I was growing up. So, again, that's changed too, and the sun was a lot more yellow and orange back in the 70s and 80s. And in fact, back in those days, maybe I wasn't looking up as much, but I can't really remember seeing any what we would call chemtrails back when I was a kid. I think the first time I noticed was in the 90s.
I read this article that just really made me so sad that they hired many artists to go back through a lot of the Disney movies and take the clouds and turn them into chemtrails so that it would be more natural, and it's just kind of a blending with the norm. I thought that was very sad.
Susan Donahue in the house.
Hey, Susan. Good to see you.
And Diana's in the house as well. Great to see
Ray
you, ladies.
And Damien. Oh, my gosh.
So the discovery of this new wave mode redefines known plasma behaviors in Jupiter's magnetosphere. It introduces a new regime of relevance to magnetized stars, pulsars, and exoplanets with intrinsic magnetic fields. So, again, you could, what's the takeaway? That things are changing. Things are changing in our solar system. Or did we always miss it? Oh, I thought this was pretty wild, guys. Just to be case of earthquake. Look at this. This is an earthquake bed. It's like your own little safety zone in case, we get hit with an 8.8. Wow. I mean, I'm sure like Zuckerberg probably has it, maybe Gates and crew, Bezos, maybe they have one of these. Even seals off the John there, guys.
Mm-hmm. I know. I look at that. I mean, this is very, very, very interesting and curious.
We love you guys too, and it's a blessing. I just thought this was like, so is this what it's coming to? Is this what it's coming to? You're going to have so much quakes and stuff. Oh, man. I don't know about you, but steel doors that look that thick sealing right over me? Are you guys claustrophobic or what? That would actually be very claustrophobic to me.
Mm-hmm. I know. I don't know what I would think about that. I mean, whoa. It would be fun once. Probably once. And then there's that. I don't know. But it's a good idea. You just fall into a box and you're saved.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Let me out, guys. Let me out now. By the way, this is Cusco. And we've talked about how did they do these perfect blocks. Again, some of them, if you look to Baalbek, I mean, you got blocks that are too large for us to move by any vehicle that we have at this point in time. How did they do it? There is other technologies in play. And when you look at this one, it looks like there's some sort of fabric imprint. So, I mean, did they really hand carve these things? Is it all chisel? Or are these some sort of fabrication? Now, Cindy's gotten that, yes, the technology is kind of mind-blowing.
Oh, yeah, it is. I mean, to be able to point something at something else, a very large something, and then change the surface of it, like you can touch it with your hands and it might be squishy instead of completely hard. Yeah, it's pretty mind-blowing, the technology.
Yeah, so when you magnify this and look at, what do we have going on? This is obviously manufactured. There's no way it's not manufactured. And this one is very similar to what we see in Baalbek. And Baalbek is fascinating. Yeah, again, we've often, most of the time, humanity has openly been interacting with what I would call ultra-terrestrials. Openly. They were here with us. And, again, I view the Younger Dryas period as basically the Pearl Harbor of Earth, and what was the benevolent system, the benevolent ultra-terrestrials that we were interacting with in the other yugas. And I do think, and by the way, there was there's a lot of people talking about the impact down in southern Louisiana, which is from the Younger Dryas event, that extinction event that happened. And again, it wiped out so much of the life on the planet. And when you look at, what are they going to say? Well, the scientists are saying it was a comet or it was an asteroid. But again, it reminds me of Starbase Killer and the Death Star, what we're talking about. Now, the technologies that have been in play here are amazing, truly amazing. Look at this. It's a lot like fabric, the way that these, it's just, is it some sort of, is it the Matrix? Were these like liquefied? And Cindy's laughing and smiling there.
Well, yeah, I mean, they weren't completely liquefied, but they were softened.
Yeah, they were softened and formed in place. Some people have said, why would you have these weird shapes with just like a little piece of one rock going up and, at a different angle? It's because it's almost like, how you could do your walkway and you could pour the cement and then you could get that pattern to imprint it to make it look like it's actually, it's like some sort of shale or some sort of, flagstone instead of just concrete. It's kind of like that on a much higher level. It's really very, very wild when you look at it. So yeah, cast, formed. Yeah, it's like they're formed, but not with technology that we're familiar with.
No, but I do think there's going to be a lot of information coming out. Susan Donahue mentioned about Jupiter and Venus are in love. They're in a conjunction right now, which is very, very good. And in the astrology I do, they're in Gemini, which is all about communication. So we're looking at love and expansion of communication. So I don't know what this is going to look like, but I do know while they're in Gemini, that energy will be expanded, and Gemini is Mercury's thing. So it's a very interesting time that we're going through right now, and I think we should embrace all of the education that we can get right now. I know this world is about duality, and there's AI, and it's all about duality, and we have to choose which part of it are we going to integrate in our lives. And anything that brings expansion to me and my family and teaching us and helping us learn and grow, and even a lot of medical things AI can be a part of. I embrace that too. So it's that Gemini energy.
Yeah, absolutely. Look at this photo. Is this like not amazing? Yeah, you're looking at the Milky Way, which is also what we're looking at here is something that they've termed the Great Rift. The Great Rift. And what we see there, we see these, it's just a gorgeous time lapse of Perseid meteor shower over Stonehenge, taken by Josh Dury. Absolutely gorgeous. But when you look to the Great Rift, that is part of the bigger war. And so, you might wonder, what are we looking at? It's just, a denser cluster of stars? No, it's more than that. And Cindy got that from the guides a long time ago, too. Do you remember when we were talking about that? No. It's basically, there's remnants here of the bigger galactic war. Because many, many planets have, unfortunately, been destroyed in the bigger galactic battle. which is still basically underway. Okay, here you go. So there's a couple of quote-unquote meteor events. This is Australia. Meteor spotted across the skies of Victoria, Australia. Sonic boom, as you know. Hit it, Scotty. We need some hyperdrive. Aye, aye, Captain. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, this. It's always the same thing. Look at that one. That was just like, wow, this was a daylight one. By the way, the geologists looked at the meteorite fragment that did smash through a man's roof in Henry County, Georgia. Says it's actually older than the Earth itself. Wow. It just, again, I don't know if I trust anybody's dating at the same time. But, you know, wow. I mean, just what we're seeing is pretty wild. That's a ship. You know, I mean, now, could the ship have dropped something? Yeah. I mean, again, there's so much going on. There's literal battles that happen over our heads at the same time. Now, this I thought was interesting. This is from Barbara O'Neill, who's a famous naturopath, and says, wood cutting boards are actually safer than plastic ones when it comes to bacteria. As you use a plastic board, it gets scarred. The crevices trap bacteria, resist cleaning, and harbor biofilms, which is microscopic colonies of persistent pathogen. Wood also scars, but the bacteria doesn't survive as long inside those grooves. So, yeah, when you see this, it says 99% of the bacteria on a wooden cutting board dies within 3 minutes. Bacteria on a plastic cutting board multiplies. It's so layered with all these things that have been sabotaging our health forever. It's just one after another, after another, after another. You know, the big push to plastics. You know, does anybody know this, or any of the scientists at any of the companies that come up with these ideas ever, you know, checking this thing out? And it feels like they like to sabotage us when we see, you know, all these little details add up.
Well, it does. I mean, if the bacteria can thrive with plastic, and they have us making so much contact with plastics that go into our body, and there's that. And a lot of these little creatures, they do like to feed off of wood alcohol and certain plastics. That's just how they do it.
Yeah, absolutely. It just never ends. This one too. I don't know if this is doctored or not, but this looks just absolutely weird. I don't know. Is that real and natural, or is there a ship up there getting charged? I mean, is it, again, does it have anything to do with HARP?
No, I feel a technological element to it, but I can't say what. It might not be of this world. Maybe it's otherworldly. It's different. Feels different.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you slow down lightning, just feels different. It really does feel different. Is this part of that different plasma? Have anything to do with whoever's changed Jupiter's plasma into behaving differently? Are they trying to say this is happening here?
Yeah, it's very interesting.
Yeah, that is condensed life force, but there's something else going on
I'm
there.
sure our trusty scientists have a name. Never fear.
Yeah,
Do
right?
not despair.
That's really pretty wild. But yeah, here you see they're harnessing the ether. The ether, you know, the ether used to be on the elemental table way back, you know, before we were born, I believe. I think they omitted it before 40s, 50s, I forget when they got rid of it, you know, from the table. But it was known. It was known and understood. So, you know, everything that we see, that we got going on in general that we take as normal and accepted. Like immediately cutting the umbilical cord.
Oh,
For
yeah.
instance,
Right.
slapping the baby, taking the baby away from the mom.
Instant trauma.
Everything is traumatic, and it's not what we should be doing for the best overall good of the mother and the child. But
Yeah.
we were brought up on it, so we never questioned.
Right. I mean, I'm not a doctor and I've never delivered anyone's child naturally, but my daughter did deliver almost at home. She almost made it. But you're supposed to allow that umbilical cord and the placenta to trade information until the umbilical cord is clean. But I'm not a doctor and I don't deliver children, so don't take my word for it. But it made sense to me to allow that umbilical cord to trade information until the blood stops pumping, and then you cut it. I thought that was very interesting.
Nikola Tesla wrote this in his book Man's Greatest Achievement, 1930. Long ago, he recognized that all perceptible matter comes from a primary substance of a tenuity beyond conception and filling all space, the akasha, or the luminiferous ether, which is acted upon by the life-giving prana or creative force, calling into existence in the never-ending cycles of all things and phenomena. Ether, if you want to call it spirit, it's the base of all physical matter.
Aw.
It's the substance that connects the astral to the physical world. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you, dear sister. Thank you.
We love you and we appreciate your support all these years. Again, this right here is why when we're looking at this is just a given. It's known all throughout the Vedic texts, and really in the Eastern world. The Taoists understood this as well. Again, we understand it here in the Western mystery traditions, like again, Hermeticism, Kabbalah, etc. It had to be, the Gnostics too. It had to be hidden because of persecution by the church. So here you go. This was all recognized thousands and thousands of years ago. Thousands. KK in the house. And Daryl, good to see you, Daryl. This is, everything comes from the ether. Now what we've gotten from the guides is that the ether itself changes at the change of the yugas. The actual ether from which all the elements give us everything, our whole manifested universe, changes. And it's not the same as it was in the past age. So the ether in the Kali Yuga is not the same as the ether in a Bronze Age. And that's not going to be the same as the ether in the Silver Age. And then the ether in the Gold Age. As we go through these cycles and ages, people are going to live longer. They're going to have what seems to be paranormal abilities. And there's no way that the system could control us. In fact, the system can't follow us. They can't go where we can go.
No, and the ether, the plasma, it is so very, very interesting. I was working with another person who was learning how to talking about biofield tuning, and what I do, there's a lot of listening when you are working on someone's energy field. You listen for certain tones and you can tell, if this person has a break, if they have a trauma here, this or that. But I use my eyes and I listen, because my hearing, I'm half deaf. I could only hear out of one ear. So I rely on my eyes to see the energy, and I rely on what comes into my head, the information from my guides and angels, but it's all carried through the plasma.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you're going to find that you will be able to read people's minds easier and easier every single month that goes by. Again, when we look to remote viewing, there was there was an interview Inspired did with Dick Aguirre. Dick's a good guy. He lives in Hawaii, and he's remote viewed the future numerous times. And yeah, we're splitting, guys. He sees us splitting too. You know, you're going to have breakaway societies that are not going to go along with the system and will be much, much freer than we've been during our lives. Then you got the ones that go with the system, which unfortunately that's going to be kind of the opposite. Although we could always change the timelines and we could keep pushing and keep awakening others. Yeah, this, to me, this is just, it's just so cool. And I do think that our reality is far better than what they give us in the history books. What do you make of this photo? That's really amazing too. Isn't that beautiful?
That feels like it's set up to collect some angels or maybe some beings that are passing from this world.
Yeah, absolutely. Portals, 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 portals everywhere. And then here you go. You got a lookout here. God, these guys are so cool. Man, I just get so much enjoyment watching the birds all day and the raccoon and the deer all night. You know, we are supposed to interact with nature. We're supposed to feel the oneness with nature and all things, because...
Thanks, you guys.
As always, guys, much love. May you all be blessed and kept healthy, safe, and free. Source bless and namaste.